Another day, another Umbrella Academy video, and this video is going to cover Allison Hargreeves, aka Number 3, The Rumor. But before we begin, look, I need to level with you. Some of you out there have seen all of these videos, and I can tell that you don't need me to recap certain elements anymore. Each of these videos is meant to be a standalone video, but with so many new subs and views coming in, I'm going to ask that before you watch this video, you go back and watch at least one or two of the others. That way I save everybody some time here, you know what I'm saying? There are only 17 total issues of this comic book at the time of this recording, therefore using science, we can deduce that I'm going to have to retread some water here to make it all work and to properly explain all of these characters. So check out some of the cards that you've seen on the screen if you want more info. This video is going to cover the comic book origins and abilities of Number 3, but there will be some elements of this video that contain spoilers for the show and potential future seasons of said show, so that being said, if you're sticking around to hang out, consider yourself warned. Let's start out by discussing Allisons Powers, because in the comics they are a tad bit different than they are in the show. In the comic books, Allison has a form of telekinesis that's triggered by uttering the phrase, "I heard a rumor." Now, in the show, the power seems to be entirely mentally suggestive, but in the comics, it is quite a bit stronger. Allison's suggestions can manifest themselves into a very real physical consequence. Let me give you an example. In the show, Allison can say something to the effect of, "I heard a rumor you were going to shoot your partner," and that would be enough mental manipulation for that person to shoot somebody else. However, in the comics, it's even stronger. She could say something like, "I heard you got shot in the head," and that person would suddenly have a hole blown into their skull, so it is pretty wicked. Now, that is the only power that we know of that she has, but it is an extremely powerful one. It's almost like Kilgrave from Jessica Jones, except on steroids. Now let's discuss her comic book history, and just for the record, we don't need to recover who the Umbrella Academy is, how they were born, or who their father is. Literally check out the show or any other video to learn that information. Let's get straight into things that Allison does in various missions. As a kid, Allison is only part of 3 major missions, but she really only plays a crucial role in 2 of them. During their first mission against zombie robot Gustav Eiffel, she is responsible for clearing the area by telling everybody that she heard a rumor that the Louvre was giving away all of their paintings. Next mission. She does get kidnapped by Dr. Terminal, but fortunately for her, she gets rescued by her bae, Luther. The only really cool thing she does is during the attack of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. I've outlined this in other videos as well, so check those out, but during this fight, it's quite apparent that the team can't stop Honest Abe until Allison is able to utter, "I heard a rumor that you were assassinated." At this time, a giant manifestation of John Wilkes Booth shows up and blows Lincoln's brains out, ending the battle. This is just another example of how wicked her powers actually are. During the events of the first miniseries, Apocalypse Suite, Allison, like the rest of the family, comes home after her father dies. She reveals that she's recently divorced and has a small daughter. She attempts to do her best to reconcile with her family members as best she can, but between conflicts with people like Diego and her mother, and Diego and Luther, and Diego and Vanya, she has a pretty hard time. It's mostly just Diego being a giant dick. Now, she does really spend the majority of her time here trying to rekindle a romantic relationship with Luther, whom she convinces to kiss her using her powers. She does almost die during the battle with the Terminauts due to the fact that her powers don't work on robots either, so she essentially hangs out, tries not to die, and protects children. After the team figures out that their other sister Vanya is responsible for ending pretty much all life on Earth via an apocalypse, she goes about helping her family stop her, and during the final showdown with Vanya, Allison has her vocal cords cut, rendering her essentially useless from pretty much here on out in terms of power. For the majority of the mini-series Dallas, Allison spends her time communicating via a notepad and trying to work with and forgive her reprogrammed death machine sister Vanya. Initially, Allison is extremely cold towards Vanya, which I don't, blame her for. She got her throat cut by her, but after her robot mother guilt trips her, she does start to forgive her and even works with her. Eventually, the family learns of an assassination plot against JFK in the past, in which Five is tasked with killing JFK back in the year 1963 in order to prevent some unknown apocalypse. So while the rest of the team is doing their own thing, Allison ends up being a crucial element of this plot that we didn't really know about until the very end. Allison is visited by the same type of time-traveling agents and hitmen that are chasing Five, and they make her a pretty reasonable offer. She has two choices. Choice number one, she can help them make sure that JFK dies, and in return, they'll give her back her voice via science or something. Or choice number two, the agents will go back even farther in time, and they will kill the mother of Luther and Five. Again, for those of you who have seen Luther's video, you will note that we do learn that Five and Luther are biological twin brothers. So, of course, she picks the simpler path, and masquerading as Jackie Kennedy, she whispers to JFK, "I heard a rumor that the back of your head is about to explode." This, of course, ends up being what's responsible for killing JFK. And it's also responsible for causing the family to break up and disband again, especially Luther, who seems particularly disgusted. This last little bit of the video is going to feature a few pieces from the latest series Hotel Oblivion, but I can't cover much because the story is not complete at the time of this recording. During this story, Allison continues to work with Vanya, trying to help her learn to walk and take care of herself again. Allison's mom is kind of a bitch about it, and when she argues with Allison about using her power to help, Allison declines. Allison then goes about helping her brother Five break into the Perseus Corporation, a shady little company we haven't really discussed much, but they do have a televator and they are using it to break villains out of the Hotel Oblivion, which is an interdimensional jail guarded by the Scientific Man, who's basically like the Destroyer from Thor. From here, Allison goes after someone named the Murder Magician, which is an awesome name. Murder Magician also has a baby strapped to him, which is what immediately sparks Allison's concern. Now, who the Murder Magician is, who the baby is, what any of this has to do with anything, I have no idea. But that's where she's at. She's chasing him down. And that is about it for Allison's comic book origins and powers. I hope you guys learned a lot, and if you think I missed something, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Like I mentioned before, there are other comics still coming down the pipeline for this, so more information will be available in the coming months. Now, time for the standard YouTube ending. If you want to see more, please subscribe because we will have an explained for every character in the Umbrella Academy core team, and all of those are pretty much wrapping up pretty soon. If you're already a subscriber, or even if you're new and want to support us, consider becoming a member by clicking the join button below. We have a ton of cool membership perks. Also, feel free to jump into our Discord server where you can meet a ton of other comic book fans and comic book movie and TV fans. That link is in the comments section, in the description, and in pretty much anything that we do. Also, feel free to follow us on Twitter and all that other social media crap that I'm sure you probably won't do, but you should because it would be awesome of you. This has been Nick with Key Issues, and you know the motto by now: comics over everything.